harvest is abundance. Somebody say abundance. When we talk about harvest, harvest is blessing. Somebody say blessing. When we talk about harvest, harvest is collection or celebration. Somebody say collection. When we talk about harvest, harvest is dominion. Somebody say dominion. When we talk about harvest, harvest is expectation, stroke experience. So say experience. When we talk about harvest, harvest is fruitfulness. So I say I'm fruitful. When we talk about harvest, harvest is honor. So I say honor. When we talk about harvest, harvest is income. So I say income. When we talk about harvest, harvest is knowledge. So I say knowledge. When we talk about harvest, harvest is largeness, to be large, to be in charge. So I say I'm large. Am I talking to somebody? I'm talking about A to Z of harvest. Everyone that come back, listen to me. God's desire, God's interest about your life is that you be in honor, is that you become great and become mighty. So I say I'm in honor. When we talk about harvest, harvest is maximization. So I say I will maximize. So I say I will maximize. When we talk about harvest, harvest is nourishment. So I say I am nourished. When we talk about harvest, harvest is openness. When we talk about openness, we are talking about open door. Anytime you see open door, that is a product of harvest. So I say open door. When we talk about harvest, harvest is provision. So I say provision. When we talk about harvest, harvest means quantity. So I say quantity. When we talk about harvest, harvest is talking about result. So I say I have result. When we talk about harvest, harvest speaks of success. So I say I'm successful. So I say I'm successful. When we talk about harvest, harvest means turnover. Turnover. To have excess turnover. So I say I will have turnover. When we talk about harvest, harvest speaks of unlimited. Something that has beginning but does not have an end. So I say I'm unlimited. When we talk about harvest, harvest speaks of victory. So we say I'm victorious. So I say I'm victorious. When we talk about harvest, harvest speaks of wisdom. Anywhere you see harvest or you see wisdom, harvest must be there. The product of wisdom is harvest. When we talk about harvest, harvest speaks of X-ray. Anytime you X-ray, anytime you have what we call inside, you are gravitating to harvest. So I say harvest. So I say harvest. So I say harvest. Anytime yokes are broken, whether it is family yoke, foundational yoke, any kind of yoke that have been taken off the neck, you are gravitating towards harvest. So I say yoke breaking. So I say yoke breaking. So I say Z. So I say Z. When we talk about harvest, the letter Z speak of a zealous mindset, that whenever you put on Z, anytime you see man with so much Z, out there yearning for, out there looking for is great harvest. Let me pray for someone today. As you go through the APC, the Z of harvest, I see harvest coming. I see harvest coming. You shall not labor in vain. You shall not labor in vain. So I say, I receive it.